Hey there, Mark Tenlow here. Just wanted to share more about my private life and give you some great offers on absolutely nothing because I don't sell anything on my YouTube channel at all. But I've been selling the Big Issue again, the magazine. I sell down at the shops, the local shops, and I get about like $15 or $18 an hour for doing that. It's not a very good life, but what else can you do? I've been losing money on forex and crypto trading and other forms of investment slash gambling. So in order to make back some of my money, I'm trying to sell the Big Issue magazine, and this is a copy of one of the latest magazines. As you can see, this is Uncle Jack, so I'm just going to be, "Hey, my name's Uncle Jack. What's your name?" I'm an Aboriginal dude, and I lost my childhood to the whites because I was part of the stolen generation. Oh boy. So, also been counting out my loose change. So as you can see, this is like a bag of $2 coins, equating to $132 in total. And on the same to my 50-cent coins, which equates to about $15, which I'm going to put in the bank tomorrow, hopefully, or maybe the day after. I've been watching videos of some of my old friends, or so-called friends, not really friends, but acquaintances. One of them, his name is Hayden. He's doing really well, apparently, as you can imagine, because he's always been very smart, good-looking young fellow, who I had the privilege to be acquainted with when he was much younger. I watched one of his latest videos in recent years, and it looks really good. He looks like he's having a good life, and that's not something I could say about my own life because my own life is pretty decrepit, and unfortunately, there are so many things going wrong with my life. I'm fat, I'm ugly, insufficient. I don't have a good job. My job's not too bad, I suppose. It's better than a lot of other people's, but it's not like a medical scientist or something, which is something that I wanted to be when I was much younger. I don't think my parents ever brought me up to be someone really, really good at anything. I have a lot of little talents, but as for being very smart at something, I think my father was much too stoic slash Spartan for me to be someone really, really great at something like a medical scientist or a doctor or lawyer or what else could I be? Could I have been psychiatrist or something? Although I will say this about my psychiatrist, because I have 14 years of experience in the mental health service in Australia. The psychiatrists in this country aren't very smart. A lot of them are really, really dumb, emotionally unintelligent, and they don't get along with their patients well. Myself, in particular, very hard to get along with, I admit that, but most psychiatrists are pretty damn stupid, ignorant, and frustrating people to deal with. I've had a lot of problems with my medication, apparently, although my caseworker, Robert, claims that I am not able to blame my medication for all the so-called negative effects which have been clouding my life. Things like having headaches in this part of my head, which is the frontal lobe of the head. I have a lot of headaches in that area, and I was very cynical about the idea that it's probably due to my medications, my antipsychotic medications, and for that reason, I want to reduce the medication at this stage and go, because I'm on Abilify Maintainer at the moment, and I want to go from 400 milligrams down to, like something like 300 milligrams every month, in order to see whether the amount of headaches I'm getting in this area of my head is going to reduce. Um, but the doctor won't let me experiment with that because he wants me to stay on the same medication, and that's really harrowing for me because I know that the medication isn't really working for me, and I've never been really mentally ill. If I am mentally ill, it's basically a very low illness and doesn't warrant being on a very high medication, which is what I'm on at the moment. um, so, yeah. Let me talk more about this magazine. So, inside you get all the pictures of Uncle Jack Charles. There's some great photos. I think the photos in this magazine are really, really good. These are some photos of men's garages. Can you imagine people who have these garages? They collect things and fix things up, like old cars and um, what else? Make things and fix motorbikes and have a collection of guitars. It's incredible. The interesting thing about these men's sheds, as they call them, or men's garages, is that um, there's an issue with mental health with a lot of these people who work in these garages or have their own garages, and they use the garages as an escape from reality. Or not exactly an escape from reality, but more like an escape from what's unreal in your head, like hallucinations or delusions or whatever. So it says here, mental health is what goes on in your head. And when you are working with your hands, it leaves behind what is in your head, this guy explains. It lets you engage with what's real. So it's talking about working in the garage, of course. And by implication, escape what's not real, such as the imaginary demons with which we so often stalk ourselves. He goes on to say, it's a good thing for a man to have a goal, to be working towards something. Yeah. So for creativity, unleashing such work is released for creativity, whose unleashing can push aside mental burdens. So that's one of the problems with mental health I think they're not addressing in this country, is that a lot of people are mentally ill because they've got nothing to go on with. They feel dull and boring and lifeless, and they have no clue what to do with their life. It's like me. I'm 40 years old, but I'm waiting to die pretty much because I have no ambitions, and my parents drill that into me. And my mum particularly tells me just to be content with what I have, which is the worst advice you could possibly give to your own son. Because what you need to have is ambition and courage and fortitude and something that you want to live for, passion, you know. So if you have passions in your life, you'll go very far and you'll do something important. My passion is music, but I don't have a chance to do that because I live in an apartment like this where I have nothing really to go on with, and I can't have I can have a piano here, but I suppose I could afford one, but I couldn't afford an acoustic piano, like a really good one, which is something, and I wouldn't be allowed in this building because it'd be too loud. So all these problems that I have with living in this apartment, unfortunately, make my life dreary and dull and unimportant. The biggest life I have at the moment is probably with Facebook, because I do a lot of things on Facebook in Facebook groups. One of my favorite groups is INFP, for example, because my Myers-Briggs type indicator is INFP-T, which basically means that I am introverted, intuitive. What does F stand for? I'm just trying to think. F stands for feeling, and P stands for perception, and T stands for turbulent. So that's my personality type, if you really want to know. So I deal a lot with Facebook, and yeah, it's a good life doing that, but it gets boring sometimes. And dealing a lot with computers all of your life gets very mundane, and it makes your eyes sore, and yeah, it's not good for your eyes, and probably not good for your brain either. I'm a pretty smart person, but I don't regard myself as being highly motivated.